The BBC presents My Music, a musical panel game devised by Edward J. Mason and Tony Schreier. And here's Steve Race to introduce the team.
Enter My Music. Stage left, David Franklin and Frank Muir. Stage right, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. We open this week with a round of music by Tchaikovsky. 2 marks if you can identify it. And first to bat is David Franklin.
I flatter myself not many chaps would have got this as quickly. This is Tchaikovsky.
I didn't even ask that. I said it was Tchaikovsky, but still, nice to know twice.
Yes, I know. Nice Tchaikovsky, and it's from Sleeping Beauty.
Yes. Can you give it a more specific name than that? It's the something from the Sleeping Beauty.
Well, the beauty it's the...
Snore. Is it, shall I give you a clue? Is it the Cucumber Largo from the Sleeping Beauty?
Oh, no, it's the something or other Adagio.
Yes.
Cucumber. It's extraordinary clues, this fellow here.
Well, yes,
that's repeated in the second act. Always we say reprise.
We're away, yes. One mark, David, for Sleeping Beauty. Half a mark for Adagio. It's the Rose Adagio, so 1.5. Some Tchaikovsky music for Denis Norden. Dennis.
Well, Ian's given me a most cautious suggestion with no hope in his voice. The dance of the little swans, I think I'm wrong.
Yes, I can confirm that. You are wrong.
Try the little fawns.
No. However many little things you try, you'll be wrong. No, it's the Chinese dance.
Oh.
From the Nutcracker Suite.
Those little Chinese.
Yes, so I'm afraid that's no marks. Ian, your turn.
Well, if this question had taken its usual form as to what that was, I should have said it was a piano piece by Tchaikovsky.
Yes.
Which doesn't get me very far.
Beyond that, you are at a loss.
Beyond that, I'm at a loss.
Well,
what about a tiny little clue?
Yes, a tiny little clue. What sort of a song was it, would you say?
Without words.
Yes. Would you care to give me that in French?
Chansons sans mots.
Well, no, not mot, actually. Another kind of French word. No, steady.
Parole.
Parole, yes.
Parole.
Chanson parole. Yes, in F.
Oh, I knew it was in F, yes.
I think 1.5 would be rather...
It's more than generous, I'll accept it.
Yes, 1.5. And some music by Tchaikovsky for Frank Muir. Frank, you can come down off point now.
It should come from the ring, because it's the dance of the cygnets.
Yes.
It's the dance of the swans, as Ian said earlier.
That is correct.
From the Swan Lake.
From Swan Lake, yes.
By Tchaikovsky.
2 marks to Frank there. Here are some general questions about music, various kinds of music. David, what is a torch song? What is a torch song? And can you give us a brief musical example, please?
Well, rather not.
We'd rather not, too. It says here.
It's a song in which a woman declares her passionate love for the object of her affection. She does it in a sort of sultry, smoky voice.
I would add, probably unrequited love or lost love. There's a certain sadness, isn't there, about it?
Well, yes,
hopelessness.
yes. Carrying a torch for somebody, yes.
Well, there's one mark. Now for the other mark, a tiny, teeny example, even if you have to make one up, of a torch song.
As if I ever could do such a thing. Give me a torch song. Mad about the boy.
yes, for one. The other mark. Why not? Yes. Well, 2 marks. I had in mind stormy weather, but lots of good examples. That's a fine one. Dennis, your question. Who would have a hi-hat, and what is it? Hi-hat.
I think the musician who went round collecting the money. No, a hi-hat is, I would say that, like the poetry of Mallarmé, it is one symbol on top of another. It's one of those things where it's that symbol that the drummer has, that he has a foot pedal and he bashes that. It's umcha, makes the umcha sound.
Yes, 2 marks, certainly. Ian, where in music would you find 4 things? A pig, a planner, a fruit fair, and a western county?
Is this in one piece of music?
In a sense, it's in a kind of unified form. 4 pieces of music, actually, but brought together under the heading of one thing.
A western county, that seems to be the best place to start.
Yes, it is, I think.
Let's have a go at Devon.
Yes, you're on the right track now.
Nothing to do with Devonshire cream and cider.
Well, in a way. I think I'll give you a clue, shall I?
Yes.
The western county is uproarious Devon.
Yes.
Now, the pig, the planner, and the fruit fair.
Uproarious Devon?
Yeah. I can't give you much longer here.
Well, I know a song called Uproarious Devon. It come to glorious Devon, where you're woken up at 7 and you have to beg for a new laid egg and you're hungry by 11.
Who recorded it, Ian?
Who recorded it?
Yes.
I did.
On an EP with which 3 songs?
A pig?
I can't give you any more.
Yes, I'm with you. Loganbury Fair.
Yes, the fruit fair.
And
yes.
the pig was a wild boar.
And the planner.
And the planner was the architect.
And where were they all found? All 4 of those songs.
They were all. They were all found on a record.
Yes, on your record of Wallace in Wonderland.
Wouldn't it have been terrible if I hadn't got that?
No performer ever fought a plug so hard.
No, indeed.
You fought every step of the way.
It sounded more like a question from Round Britain Quiz.
Wallace in Wonderland, an EP with those 4 songs on it. And I have to give you those 2 marks in the end.
Thank you, yes.
Frank, simple question for you, not based on one of your records. Frank, what is an A&R man?
Well, at a fruit fair, it's a man who specialises in apples and rhubarb.
It's true.
But in the world of music, it stands for artists and repertoire. And it's kind of entrepreneur of the recording world. A man who I think was originally employed by the makers of discs to advise the artists, but is now more employed by the artists to advise them on...
Yes.
And they're sort of freelance now.
Yes, they've gone freelance. 2 marks. And I look at the score at the moment and I see that leading by 1 mark are David Franklin and Frank Muir. Opera.
Back on...
Yes.
Back on course, Frank, are you? Yes. Opera, and the whole of this round deals with Mozart's Don Giovanni.
Oh, good.
Comment in concert from Frank and Denis. Let's begin then with the title page. David, what is the alternative title to Don Giovanni, please?
Il dissoluto punito.
Yes, for 2 marks. Do you know what it means?
All's well that ends well.
Or little by little.
The dissolute punished.
Yes, the rake punished is what I've got here, but fair enough, 2 marks, yes. Dennis, still on Don Giovanni. How many girls did the hero have in Spain?
Well, I tell you, it's very difficult to have any because... no, I tell you, because when I went to Spain, they said, never put anything to your lips unless you boil it first. And... can't be serious, right? You get into a lot of hot water. I've got... Ian has actually passed me a figure. 1,003.
That's a ridiculous answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's right, of course. For 2 marks, yes. Ian, how could you possibly know the figure was 1,003?
Well, because on many occasions I have sung that figure.
And you totted them up as you sang Leporella's
Definitely.
catalogue song. Anyway, 2 marks for the figure, 1,003. Ian, your turn. The action of the opera begins outside the house of Donna Anna, whom Don Giovanni is trying to seduce. Her father arrives. Who is he, and what becomes of him?
He is a commendatore,
Yes.
which is well, in Italy it's a decoration given, but I suppose in Spain it really means a nobleman of some kind.
Yes.
And Don Giovanni rather overreacts to the arrival of the commendatore, he has been inside at least trying, if not succeeding, in seducing the commendatore's daughter. And when the commendatore says, "Look here, I say, this is a bit much," Don Giovanni, instead of saying, "I'm terribly sorry, sir," and disappearing into the night, kills him. And it's a part, I may say, that David Franklin has played, not the Don, but the commendatore, with considerable distinction in his time, and nobody ever died with greater realism and had further to fall than David Franklin.
Very good, yes. Well,
Bugle one of the girls, too.
2 marks, and David will know that as he dies, he joins in a trio, doesn't he, with Don Giovanni and Leporello. 1 more question remains, and that's for Frank out of Don Giovanni. Frank, when next we meet the commendatore, he's become a statue in a cemetery. What is his revenge?
Yes, of course, a sudden illumination.
From your right-hand side.
My left hand.
Oh, sorry.
Stage left.
Beg pardon, yes.
He comes back and invites what? Oh, yes. Don Giovanni invites him to supper. He goes to supper and takes Don Giovanni to, I can't say it, hell.
Yes, all right, 2 marks there. You split them between yourself and David.
Steve,
David.
can I slip in a story about the first dress rehearsal at Glyndebourne of the commendatore in his stone statue makeup and costume stiffened with size? I smelt like a polecat. And then I'd done what I thought was a sufficiently stone statue makeup, and one of the stagehands took me at one side, said, "Stand in the corner there, Miss Griff, and shut your eyes." I said, "Why?" He said, "Never you mind, just do as you're asked." So I stood in the corner and shut my eyes, and he dipped a whitewash brush in a pail and flicked it all over me. And wiping a dirty great dollop of whitewash out of my eyes, "What's that for?" He said, "You're a statue, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, so what?" He said, "Pigeons."
Well, so much for the story of Don Giovanni and the story of David Franklin. Here are some show tunes. 1 mark for the song, a 2nd mark for the show, and a 3rd mark for the composer. So it's song, show, composer. David.
What a picture from Silly up, Take it in your family.
It's half a sixpence.
Yes.
Put me off the
Show.
Say it a bit louder, Frank. I don't think it got across.
half a sixpence, or the slip in the opera.
Yes. Fair enough. Half a sixpence, yes.
What do you want? The title of the show?
The title of the song.
Flashbang Wallop.
Flashbang Wallop. Right. Yes, that's right.
And music was by
David Henniker.
David Henniker.
3 marks to David Franklin.
3 stars on my voice.
Dennis.
For the music.
Nothing peculiar. Comedy Tonight.
Yes, 1 mark.
From Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum.
2.
Music by Stephen Sondheim.
3.
Book by Larry Gelbart and Bert Chevrolet.
I can but give you 3 marks, yes. And Ian's turn. Ian.
We are in love with you, my heart and I.
My Heart and I, the title, yes.
And it's from Old Chelsea.
Yes.
By Richard Talbot.
That's right, 3 marks. And finally, Frank.
Come taste the wine, come hear the band, come move the horn, start celebrating, right this way your table's waiting.
The song is Cabaret.
From?
Musical show of the same name.
Yes, that's 2 marks.
But wild, rampaging Percherons couldn't drag the name of the composer from these reluctant lips.
Or your mate? No. John Kander, the name. So that's 2 out of 3. Let's just have a look at the score up to now and see what's happened. At the moment, leading by 1 mark, David and Frank. We have another round now. I described the song or its message, and you please provide the song's name. David, however carefully you choose the site for a romantic evening, it'll be a dead loss if you don't take the precaution of having a girl with you. In other words... That stopped you in your tracks.
No sense.
Yeah, you're on the right track, Frank, yes.
Yeah.
For your colleague.
I met the man who wrote this song during the war. He was training spies to parachute. And his name was Major Edwards, and the song goes, there's no sense sitting on the bench all by yourself in the moonlight.
Thank you. Yes.
There's no thrill by the watermill all by yourself in the moonlight.
Yes, 2 marks.
Frank, save your voice. We've got to swing round later on.
Dennis, nutty canines and pucker sibes get brown the hard way, or...
Or mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday, out in the midday.
2 marks, yes. Yes, very good, 2 marks. Ian, he was mistaken, and you told the fellow so. His reaction amazed you.
We had a slight argument last Friday night.
Is this the verse? Or...
That was the verse, yes.
Oh, I see, yes.
I'm not a quarrelsome sort of a chap, but the man next door is absurd. We had a slight argument last Friday night, but I hardly uttered a word. I called him a pig-faced baboon and a thief when he suddenly struck me. Will it pass his belief? Isn't that one?
I don't know yet.
He struck me with antagonistic violence. My injury was obviously seen. An abrasion of the oral epidermis.
Yes.
It's a confusion of the cranium, I mean.
Yes, all together now.
That's the one.
Yes.
And then it goes, I sustained a laceration of the cuticle.
Hasn't he got a chorus, this
confusion
song?
of the cranium, I mean. And a much enlarged auricular appendage. In other words, a thick ear.
No!
Silence. It's not. Is that right?
No. Well, I think it'll do. But all I've got is 2 lovely black eyes.
I thought it was a George Roby song, in other words.
I thought it was going to be the verse of 2 lovely black eyes, especially when you said something about oracular.
Yes. Oh, I beg your pardon.
Because I took to be eyes and ears anyway.
Still, I think I worked hard enough for a mark or 2, didn't I?
Oh, yes. Only for telling a man he was wrong, 2 lovely black eyes, but you get 2 marks, certainly. Frank, Your actions are far less likely to achieve a given objective than the methods employed in bringing them to fruition. Or, as the song says,
it ain't what you do, it's the way that you do it.
Well, 2 marks, yes, you're right. Here comes the singing. Graham Dalley plays music on various instruments, and the team sings to earn up to 3 marks. Taking over where Graham leaves off, please. Begin with David.
It's a song called You've Got to Be Joking. I haven't the faintest idea.
Well, I could tell you what it's... I could give you the first half line and you'd know immediately what it was called. Shall I do that?
Yes.
The shades of night
We're falling fast,
as...
and through an alpine village pass.
Youth
bore a strange device.
No, what did the device say?
A banner. The device said, altogether, Excelsior.
Yes. I think 1 out of 3. Let's see how Dennis gets on for 3 marks with this song.
It's 1 minute. I don't know I know the first 2 lines. Lady of Spain, I adore you. Lay right from the first time I saw you, watching that bull stand and gore you. Lady of Spain, I love you, and so on.
Oh, yes, I think so. Lady of Spain, I'm appealing. Why should my lips be concealing all that my eyes are revealing, and so on. Yes, that's 3 marks. Fair enough there. No, it's 2. Because you've got quite a lot of the words wrong. Anyway, 2 out of 3 there. Ian's turn. Ian.
He exercises of his brains, that is, assuming that he's got any. Though never nurtured in the lap of luxury, yet I admonish you, I am an intellectual chap, and think of things that would astonish you.
In other words,
I always think it's comical, fa-la-la, fa-la-la, that nature always does contrive, fa-la-la-la, that every boy and every gal that's born into the world alive is either a little liberal or else a little conservative. Fa-la-la, fa-la-la, is either a little liberal or else a little conservative. Fa-la-la.
Thank you. There is a second verse.
I have to just mention the Labour Party because of equality
Of
between
course,
the parties.
yes,
You understand that. But anyway, 3 marks there and a song from Frank Muir.
around the marble arch, around and round they march. They know how to get round the girls, round the marble arch.
Yes, yes.
And there we end, I'm afraid, my music for this week, with a victory by 1 mark for Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. Goodbye.
Taking part in my music were David Franklin, Frank Muir, Denis Norden and Ian Wallace. Graham Dalley was at the keyboard and the chairman was Steve Ray. The questions were compiled by Edward J. Mason, and the programme was produced in London by Tony Schreier. The BBC presents My Music, a musical panel game devised by Edward J. Mason and Tony Schreier. And here's Steve Race to introduce the team.
Here's another My Music, with Frank Muir and David Franklin on one side, Denis Norden and Ian Wallace on the other. I am in the middle, armed with at least some of the correct answers. I have 2 marks to offer, gentlemen, for this first round. 2 marks for just the title of the piece. We begin with David Franklin.
This is a day off for catguts.
Yes.
Holiday for Strings.
Holiday for Strings. And that version really was with no string players there. Yes, 2 marks there, Holiday for Strings. Denis Norden's turn.
Something about what to watch the girls go by.
Yes.
Something about watching the girls.
The girls watch the boys.
Watch the girls. Watch the girls. Very good lyric, actually, but I'm trying to remember what the title.
You don't know the first word of the title, then?
I watch the girls go. No, I don't.
No.
I've tested myself.
Well, shall we make it 1.5? Music to watch girls by.
Oh.
So 1.5, and Ian Wallace's turn. Ian, do you know the answer to this question?
Oh, I ought to. Yes, and I'm sure every single member of the audience knows it too. Sounds
You don't know.
Mantovani and his singing strings were doing it.
No, it's Frank Jacksfield singing strings.
Frank
Actually. You don't know the answer to the question, then?
No.
It's called Question and Answer.
Oh, yes.
It's the name of the piece. Demande et réponse. Question and Answer from Coleridge Taylor's Street Concert. That's no marks there, I'm afraid. Frank, your turn, Frank Muir.
Petite Fleur.
Yes.
And it was originally played by Monty Sunshine.
Yes, that's right.
Beautiful record. And this isn't Monty Sunshine because this is subtone.
That's
and
right.
he was high.
I say.
And this is Mr. Ackerbilt.
Yes, that's right. Petite Fleur. 2 marks, tuned by Sidney Bechet. Here's where we test your musical knowledge. David, Benjamin Britten composed Let's Make an Opera. It was based originally on a poem. Which poem, please, and by whom?
Oh. You wouldn't like to know the poem on which he based Peter Grimes. You wouldn't like to know who wrote the libretto of The Rape of Lucretia.
I'd quite like to know, but it wouldn't win you any marks, I'm afraid. Let's make an opera. Now, think about it. What's it about? Could you cast your mind?
Oh, it's about a little boy
What was his profession?
Who has to go climbing up chimneys. It's called The Little Sweep. Who wrote a poem called The Little Sweep? That's what you're getting at, isn't it?
Yeah, well, not quite. Called The Chimney Sweep or The Chimney Sweeper.
Yes.
Chimney Sweeper. I can't really give you any marks, can I?
Yes, you can.
Why should I give you any marks?
Put it down nice.
I know. Sooty.
Well, half a mark for saying that it's a little boy who sweeps chimneys. It's the poem The Chimney Sweep or The Chimney Sweeper by William Blake. Dennis, what is a circular cannon?
Have you ever seen a round billiard table? And it's either that, it could be a fat clergyman. Musically, have you ever sung a circular canon?
Well, a canon is a musical form, not unlike a fugue, where the same phrase is sort of heaped one on top of the other. And I suppose a circular one is one where you start off and you come round to the same place where you started.
The music
when you
goes
finish.
round and around. Sort of, yeah.
Yes, a canon or round type song which doesn't come to an end but can be repeated ad infinitum. Ian, what exactly is a Highland fling? Exactly.
This is a Highland dance, a solo dance, as opposed to a lot of the other Highland, the reels and foursomes and strathspeys and so on. But a fling is a solo Highland dance.
Well, now, I'm going to read you exactly what it says here in front of me. It says, a Scottish dance step, rather than the dance itself. The music is the strathspey, and the step is a kick backwards and forwards. Well, since you said it was a dance and wasn't a strathspey, and here it turns out to be a step to the strathspey, do you think I ought to give you any marks?
Yes.
Audience, how many marks out of 2 do you think? 1, all right.
I think that's very fair. Thank you very much.
Frank, what is a bore?
And you ask that. In what sense? There's so many. It's a thing that goes up the River Severn slightly higher than the rest of the River Severn.
I confess I was thinking musically.
Musically.
Instrumentally, I was thinking.
Instrumentally. Is it a mechanical thing rather than a notational?
Yes.
Is it as in gunnery?
Yes.
It's a passage that your puff goes down when you play or at least it's the size of the passage that your puff goes down when you play a wind instrument.
2 marks. The bore is the inside width of the tubing of a brass instrument. It affects, in fact, the quality of the tone. A small bore, trumpet one we'll hear about, or a wide bore, large bore. In this next round, I want to know who the performer is, or who the performers are. 2 marks. David, your taste is for really serious vocal music, so this will be right up your street.
This is a very serious performer, but not in his normal role. It's Peter Ustinov.
Yes, Peter Ustinov, that's right. Singing mock Mozart with Anthony Hopkins, actually, at the harpsichord. 2 marks for that name. Dennis, who's this?
Steve actually gave you the clue by he was bobbing up and down like this. It's Freddie and the Dream. Actually, this Tiptoes Through the Tulips I always associate with Dick Henderson, who was the father of Dickie Henderson. He was a very stout man who used to wear a very small bowler hat. He used to sing a parody of it, which I remember one verse went, and then her father, Mr. Mason, from the window poured a basin full of tiptoes through the...
Ian, yours is so easy when played at the proper speed that we thought we'd ask you to identify the singer when she's played at double speed. So here we go. Well,
I'd know that voice anywhere. It's me.
yes. Well, Ian, we insist now on playing just those few bars at the proper speed because it's really a lovely song, beautifully done. Here it is.
Is therefore on this poverty that hangs his head and all that the coward slave we pass him by, we dare be poor for all that.
I prefer the other way.
I knew they'd say that. Well, you certainly get your 2 marks. Now, we've got not just one singer, but rather a lot of singers. So, Frank, who are these?
It's the Metropolitan Police Choir. Or failing that, the Dagon and Girl Singers. Or failing that, the Luton Girls Choir.
Yes, I think we might stop there, because that's who it is. When I said, who are these, I thought you were going to say, these are the bells of St Mary's. But never mind. Luton Girls Choir is right for 2 marks. Here are some musicals from either stage or film, or both. For 3 marks, then, David Franklin, who composed Annie Get Your Gun, and can you please name 2 tunes from the score?
Irving Berlin.
For 1 mark, and
1 mark.
Name 2 songs.
There's no business like show business.
Mm-hmm. Anything I can do, you can do slower.
One rude.
Yes. Well, I'll buy those 2.
Thank you.
Dennis, who joined forces with Frank Lesser to write, and for which films, Small Fry and 2 Sleepy People?
Hoagie Carmichael.
Yes.
For both. 2 Sleepy People came from that Bob. Thanks for the Memory.
That's right. And rather difficult.
And
Small
Small
Fry.
Fry came from a very early Bing Crosby film.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Rhythm on the River.
No. Carry on.
It
was an exclamatory title.
Sing You Sinners.
Yes, Sing You Sinners. Good for you. There's your 3 marks. Very good. Ian, who composed the music for Call Me Madam? And can you please name 2 songs from the show?
Irving Berlin.
Again, yes, 1 mark. 2 songs.
And songs. There was one that pa-dum-pum, ba-da-dum-dum,
Yes.
ba-dum-pum.
Called...
I hear music in the...
It wasn't called that. No.
I Hear Music, wasn't it called?
No, that's another song entirely.
Just in Love.
You're Just in Love, yes, that's 1 mark. And another song from Call Me Madam.
It's a lovely day today.
It's a lovely day
Yes,
today.
there's another mark. Total 3. Good. Frank Muir, in Oliver, who originally played Fagin? What did he tell the hero to consider himself, and what to pick?
The original hero, Ron Moody.
Yes,
of course.
good. Yes.
Consider yourself. Consider yourself one of us.
1 mark for Ron Moody, half a mark. Consider yourself at home, one of the family.
Something.
And what did he tell him to pick?
He got to pick a pocket or 2.
Yes, there's another mark. 2.5 out of 3. Here's one of those rounds in which lyrics of songs are paraphrased by our compiler, the worthy Edward J. Mason. Your job is to identify the original song and for 2 marks answer a question about it. David, if you're out in a cloudburst and you extend your neck, what won't you be?
If I'm out in a cloudburst,
Yes.
and I won't extend my neck.
You do extend your neck.
I do extend my neck.
And you are not something. In fact, you'll never be something.
Raining violins. Violets, no. No, that's not it.
No.
No.
Frank doesn't know.
No. I wonder if anybody in the audience knows what the song's called. You'll Never Walk Alone is the title of the song. Yes, you'll never be alone. When you walk through the storm, hold your head up high, and so on. You'll never walk alone. No marks there. Dennis, when you and your girlfriend are juxtaposed to a musical accompaniment, You're in paradise, but you can't see her. Why not?
Dancing with tears in my eyes, because the girl in my arms is a chap. No.
Well, dancing is what we had in mind. I think you get 2 marks there. We had in mind that you're dancing cheek to cheek, which is, of course, also a condition in which you can't really see each other properly, isn't it? Ian, you enjoy a holiday, a bit of sand, a promenade, a band playing, a simple phrase. What do you like next to you?
A girl.
Lots of them. Yes, all right.
Of course.
Yes. 2 marks there.
Thank
Lots
you.
of girls beside. I would like to be beside the seaside, beside the sea. Frank, the little lad resembles hybrid tea, or perhaps one of the floribundi. Has he a name?
Hello, everybody knows.
Has he a name?
Oh, know what to call him, but he's my
Yes. So he hasn't got a name because we don't know what to call him.
His name is Mighty Lacquer Rose.
Here's a round all about fish. Fish. And when I tell you that one of the songs we considered using was Body and Soul, then you'll know what to expect. David, what fish, please, is this? Don't tell him, audience, let him flounder.
Poor soul. Yes, I've heard suggested this a nice piece of frozen Waldteufel.
Yes, that's right.
And I've had 2 penny chips with it as well. It is, in fact, the skater's waltz.
So,
And the fish you're after must be the skate.
skates for 2 marks. Dennis, can you work out some seafood, please, from this?
Whale meat again.
That's right, yes. Ian Wallace, here's some fish food for you. 2 marks.
And the snappy catch.
Soft or hard?
Yes, Rose of England, yes. And final fish for Frank.
Your tiny finger is frozen. Maybe, but this is a summer place.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. Well, there's 2 marks, and we've got through our fish round. Just identify these pieces, please, in this round for 2 marks. The name of the piece. David.
Is this chap a workman?
Yes. Talented.
Oh, very talented, because he's the harmonious blacksmith.
Yes, that's right. 2 marks for harmonious blacksmith. In fact, Handel called it air from his 5th harpsichord suite, but he never had an ear for a title, did he, Handel? Not like Dennis, can you identify this piece, please, for 2 marks?
It's like the dream you dream tonight that fades from sight when starlight disappears.
Yeah, I don't think the words will ever tell you the title of it.
No, it comes from a Leslie Howard film.
Yes.
I can't... Intermezzo, it's called.
From?
Escape... No, didn't Escape Me.
Go on. Yes, you're doing all right.
Escape...
All the S's from the audience.
Yeah, Ian got it. Escape to happiness.
Escape to happiness, yes. The audience going...
Yes.
All right, then, 2 marks. Title of this piece from Ian.
Would this be by Edward German?
Yes.
And therefore it is a dance from... a suite of dances from, I would say, Merry England.
Yes, yes. It also occurs in the overture. 2 marks there. And finally, music to be identified by Frank Muir. Frank, can you...
Smashing piece.
Can you put a fuse to that? I mean, put an end to that.
The bells, and it's the Moscow 1812. Tchaikovsky's 1812 overture.
Yes, for 2 marks. In Twelfth Night, Act 2, Scene 3, the words occur, and I quote, "Your true love's coming that can sing both high and low." The bard was referring at this point to our team members, who get 3 marks for continuing the song when the playing stops, both high and low. David Franklin, some music for you to continue, please, vocally.
But how the hell can the old man tell that it isn't going to rain no more?
Oh,
That's the low bit.
Yes. The
You want me to sing it higher?
Yes, let's have the high bit.
It ain't gonna rain no more, no more. It ain't gonna rain no more. But how in the world can the old man tell that it ain't gonna rain no more?
Yes, 3 marks. The old folks tell, but certainly 3 marks. Dennis.
Let him go and wed another, and I hope it brings him joy. Well, I can't sing it. I'm going to marry a far nicer girl.
3 marks there. He can go and get another that I hope he will enjoy. 3 marks. Ian.
All at the stopper. But get me to the church on time. If you can find me.
Words, please.
Whoop me out the door.
Good enough.
But I'm getting married in the morning. Ding dong, the bells are going to ring. Chime. And touch me.
Change my nappy.
Get me to the church. Get me to the church. For God's sake, get me to the church. Ding dong dong on ding dong dong time.
Good enough for 3 marks there. And Frank, you have to be rather quick about this one. Here we go.
Katie, I'm a beautiful Katie. You're the beautiful girl I ever saw. When the moonlight over the mountain,
Cowshed.
I will see you at the kitchen door.
Yes, it's the cowshed the moon shines over, actually. Over the cowshed.
Really?
Yes. 3 marks there. So ends another My Music, with a victory by a margin of 2.5 marks, this time for Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. Goodbye.
Taking part in My Music were David Franklin, Frank Muir, Denis Norden and Ian Wallace. Graham Dalley was at the keyboard and the chairman was Steve Race. The questions were compiled by Edward J. Mason and the programme was produced in London by Tony Schreier. The BBC presents My Music, a musical panel game devised by Edward J. Mason and Tony Schreier. And here's Steve Race to introduce the team.
Hello and welcome to My Music. Music of various kinds tested in a series of questions. Our two teams consist of David Franklin and Frank Muir challenging Ian Wallace and Denis Norden. By way of an opening round, we play you, gentlemen, some well-known classical, or strictly speaking, I suppose, romantic classical music. For 2 marks, can you identify title and composer, a mark each, of the following? David Franklin, here's yours. There you are.
Well, my colleague and I have thought of the possibilities. We decided that it is a piano concerto by Tchaikovsky.
Very nice. Would you like 1, 2, or 3?
We will consult and let him know.
3, 1.
He thinks 1, but I think 3.
B flat minor.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I thought you asked me how many marks I want.
Oh, no. I was laying a barefaced trap, I'm afraid, David. There isn't, of course, as you well know, a third piano concerto.
Well, of course. I knew there wasn't, but I wanted 3 marks.
And you've got them. Well, you get 2, actually. It's 2 maximum for this round. It is Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto No. 1. As Frank observed, didn't have gone on to say it was Opus 23, wouldn't you, Frank? Over to the other side, and some music for Denis Norden.
Ian said, am I happy? I've never felt more ignorant in my life. It's a piano concerto, hisses Wallace. Yes? We think it's a piano concerto.
I'm afraid you're wrong. It does sound a bit like one. It isn't one, no.
Well, I haven't the faintest idea what it is.
Well, I'll give one of the marks away. It's Rhapsody on a Theme by Paganini, composed by
Stuart Granger. It was, wasn't it?
Ian, you can't write this name fast enough. I'm afraid it's no marks. It's Rachmaninoff.
Oh.
Rachmaninoff's Rhapsody on a Theme by Paganini. No marks, sorry. Ian, it's your turn now. Ian.
Chopin.
Correct for 1 mark. And?
It's a polonaise.
Yes, that's jolly nearly another
There are
mark,
rather a lot
I
of
think.
polonaises, but that's as far as I'm going.
Would you like to guess at a key somewhere between G major and A major?
Well, A flat.
Yes, you're right.
You're very kind.
In A flat major, Opus 53, 2 marks for Ian. And finally, Frank Muir.
the Rustle of Spring.
Yes.
And it's by... By what?
Try sinding.
I can't sing.
S-I-N-D-I-N-G.
We are of the opinion it might be Monsieur Sinding.
Rustle of Spring by Sinding, otherwise known as Frühlingswacht, or something like that in German. I don't include German in my repertoire. That's 2 marks. And here we test your knowledge of musical terms and or expressions. For 2 marks, David Franklin, what is, or indeed was, a whiffler? W-H-I-F-F-L-E-R. Whiffler.
I know that.
Do you?
Yep.
Would you like to tell me?
Yes. It's an 18th century whistler. Because in the 18th century they spelt they had very long S's which looked like F's. And Stiggrace doesn't know this. He says whiffler. It's actually whiffler. And he had a mother. And a dog.
It's funny you should say this, Frank. I have a quotation from Shakespeare here. Speaking of Henry V's return across the Channel after Agincourt, says, and I quote, "The deep-mouthed fee, which, like a mighty whiffler for the king, seems to prepare his way." Which proves what you were saying, doesn't it, really?
You tell me.
What then is a whiffler? Whiffler.
Isn't it what Frank said?
Well, I'm going to give it to you. It's a fifer. A whiffle was a fife.
£5?
They used to use them in Morris dances, and let's leave the subject there, shall we? 2 marks, good enough, and rather generous. But never mind, let's move on. Dennis Norden, over on the other side. What is a hopak? Hopak, or gopak, if you like. And in which country would you expect to find it? Hopak.
A gopak.
Well, yes.
Is it?
Yes.
G-O-P-A...
Yes, that's how it's spelled.
Oh, I see, yeah.
I was trying to...
Well, gopak is actually the opposite of a comeback, which is you get around Sorrento way. It's Russian, and it's what the Russians do by way of enjoyment.
I'm sorry, Dennis. Now I know why you wanted me to call it a gopak. Yes, 2 marks from Lively Dance from Little Russia in 2 in a Bar Time. Ian, what is or was a clavicitherium?
He was a master of the clavichord in the 18th century. There were quite a few of these people, and they played harpsichords and all kind of clavichords. And
you mean like Ringo clavicitherium, for instance, or Ian clavicitherium? A clavicitherium was an upright spinet or harpsichord. It foreshadowed the upright piano. Instead of being flat like the grand piano, it was upright like the upright piano. It was not a player, in fact, at all.
Oh, I see. I did mention harpsichord.
Well, you did, so you get 1 for that.
Thank you. I'll settle very happy for that.
Frank, what is a farandole, and where would you find one?
Is it like a sort of slow folk trot?
That's very good. That's very good for a...
You dance a farandole, don't you?
Yes, that's right.
In the streets of some Italianite country. I think in the borders of the Mediterranean.
Yeah, your luck is running out, actually. You've been very good up to now.
Cancel my last remark.
Yeah, I will, yes. Yes, it's a street dance, exactly what you said, with many participants holding hands and dancing along. There's one in La Laisienne Suite that goes dum pum 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 pum. That's right, that's the farandole. You've got 2 marks. Now, for a round covering stage and film musicals, and Denis Norden always does well with these, due to the fact that... Well, why is it, Dennis, you always
I don't know, but you've already put the jinx on it.
For 2 marks, just the title of the show from which the following come. David Franklin.
A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. The medicine go down. Medicine go down. Just a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down in a most delightful way.
Yes.
From Mary Poppins.
Yes, the show Mary Poppins. That's right, for 2 marks. Dennis Norden, we'll see how you get on with this.
If you wanna be neat and you wanna be clean, here's a break for you. Listen close while I explain exactly what to do.
Step up to the top,
It ain't no disgrace. Roll up your sleeve and get it done in place. Scoop up the water and rub it on your face and go.
It's up to you, Dennis.
I didn't get it right for last line. Isn't it from Snow White?
Yes, that's right, for 2 marks. A good mind to make you name the dwarfs, can you?
Sneezy, dozy, easy, wheezy, Athos, Porthos, and D'Artagnan.
Serves me right, that does it. And now it's the turn of Ian Wallace.
I'm reviewing the situation. Can the fella be a villain all his life? All the trials and tribulation. Better settle down and get myself a wife. And the wife would cook and sew for me and come for me and go for me and go for me and nag at me. The finger she will wag at me. The money she will take from me. A misery she'll make from me. I think I'd better think it out again.
We're in Bartsville.
Yes, we're in Bartsville, that's right.
But what is interesting is that I don't think that Mr. Stanley Holloway, he ever sang the part in Oliver, but he's so Fagin that he's singing there. So
never mind. We knew you'd rise above it. Yes, you're right, Ian. 2 marks. It comes from Oliver, sung by Stanley Holloway there. And Frank Muir.
Thank you. The musical show Fiddler on the Roof.
Yep. For 2 marks, and you're right.
And that's If I Were a Rich Man.
Yes.
Or was a rich man.
And we go on to opera. And here we think David Franklin might score. Let's see. David, can you name an opera in which the young hero, played by a woman, a mezzo-soprano, disguises himself or herself as a chambermaid? Yes. Title and composer, please.
Rosenkavalier.
Yes.
By Strauss R.
Yes.
Do you happen for Richard?
Yes, you've got 2 out of 3 marks. Do you happen to know the character concerned?
Yes. Which name do you want? The name
Both.
that he adopted as a girl, which was Mariando.
Go on.
His real name, as a man, played by a woman, was Octavian.
Yes. Within, say, 10 years either way, when was the opera first produced?
1908.
Yes, very good. 1911. You get 3 marks. Very good. Denis Norden, in which opera do the hero and heroine meet because she hasn't got a light?
It's called The Light That Failed. Do you know it? Ian knows it. Yeah. La Bohème, yes. La Bohème, you see, from Your Tiny Lamp is Frozen.
Yes, it's around that time in the opera, certainly.
You want it to within 800 years?
Yes, please. The date of the first production.
1897.
It was 1896.
You've never seen a man write as quickly as Ian Wallace.
Not just a pretty face, you'll observe. 3 marks there. And Ian, it's your turn. In which opera is the leading character a notorious roue who is eventually overcome and sent to hell by the statue of the man he murdered in the first act?
That's a chap called Don Giovanni in the opera, known to most of the world as Don Juan.
Or Don Juan to most of the world.
And the opera is by Mozart.
Yes. First produced.
About 1794.
Yeah, that's all right. 1787. That's your 3rd mark. Very good. Frank, I'm sure you're looking forward to this. In which opera do we learn that a leading character's younger brother was bewitched when a baby by a gypsy who was burnt alive for her crime and whose daughter meant to burn the baby in revenge but killed her own infant instead?
I think it's White Horse Inn.
Funny girl.
Il Trovatore, no wonder he was ill.
By?
Yes, by...
Stall for a moment, yeah.
Vera. Oh,
by Vera.
By Verdi.
Yes. And when was it first produced, please, Frank?
That's a very interesting question. What? Oh, 1845.
That gets your mark, 1853. Very good.
And they say I know nothing about opera.
This next round is musico-ornithological. Here are various recordings of various kinds of wildfowl. 2 marks for the correct answer, or for one that's wrong but inspired. David, your turn first. Listen.
I haven't a clue what it is.
I have to say nay, I'm afraid. Can I give you a clue for
You
one
mean
mark?
to say it's a horse?
No, it's a...
You see, during the last series, you gave me all sorts of hidden clues. They were so cryptic, so anagrammatical, that I was lost. I was determined this time I was going to get them. You said nay.
Well, that's the name of the bird, actually, if that's the way it's pronounced, the NE-NE, or the Hawaiian goose.
Really?
Well, that's no marks, I'm afraid, is it? Yeah.
Goose.
Let's see how Dennis gets on with his species of wildfowl.
Terrific. I wouldn't know what this is. If you stretched me out on the rack, I wouldn't know what it is.
Don't
Some kind of thing which obviously tastes much better. Roast.
Or upped.
Yeah. Oh, it's a swan.
What's that? What's that?
Yeah. A swan. You said upped.
Yes, and I said...
Yes, but I was trying not to...
No, you're not going to get the other mark. No, I was trying to give you the trumpeter swan. But it's a mark. And I think really David ought to have a mark too, just to be fair. So go back on that. Right, 1 mark each. And it's the turn of Ian. There's a certain stereophonic effect there. The one we want is the one in the foreground, Ian.
It's not a water lark. Although maybe having a lark on the water. A kingfisher.
Yeah, your luck's running out as well.
Well, no wildfowl.
You're going to get 1 mark, because everybody's going to get 1 mark in this round. It was, as you so nearly said, the red-billed whistling duck.
You can't tell the colour of its beak, even in stereophonics.
Now we come to that rare moment when we hear from a bird for Frank Muir.
This is quite audibly a pair of birds. The female bird is obviously molted. And the sight of the bare, unfeathered flesh, the male bird is going... It's obviously an overexcited goose of some sort. Taking a gander.
1 mark.
Oh, well.
Frank, would it help you if I were to make a noise like a blanket?
Like an eider duck.
That's it. Yeah. Shall we give him a 2nd mark, audience? Yes.
It's an eider duck.
The common eider.
What's
I can't
he doing
wait.
under the eider duck?
And in the next round, all very serious, we have composers' Christian names. David Franklin, do you know Gounod? The first name of Gounod.
Do I know what?
Gounod.
How?
Well, there are 2 names I've got down here.
1 mark.
Charles, one for Charles?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Well, what about Fred for the second?
No, Francois.
Well, Fred, after all, is the English version of Francois.
That's right. Well, I'll give you 1 mark, but it doesn't count for the English score. So that's 1 mark up to now. Dennis, you're something of a specialist, we've noticed, on musicals. This is difficult, but I think you might get it. Can you give the first names of the team who wrote Broadway Melodies, Ziegfeld Go, and so many others, De Silva, Brown, and Henderson? Now, what were their first names?
No, Howard. Buddy De Silva.
Yes. 1.
Herb Nacio Brown.
The other way round.
Nacio Herb Brown.
Yes.
What was the other one?
Henderson.
I can't remember Henderson. No.
Well, you certainly get 2 marks. Ray Henderson. Very good.
Ray Henderson.
Very good. Ian, back to opera. The Christian name, please, of Leon Cavallo.
Leon Cavallo. Cavallo.
If you're going to guess, you're not going to guess.
Giacomo.
No. He had red hair, perhaps. I don't know. No.
Rosso.
No. I know. I'm busting this too. Ruggiero. Ruggiero is his first name. So that's no marks there, I'm afraid.
He's known as Ginger, actually.
Frank, I was interested when I got these questions to notice that I couldn't answer this one myself. The first name, please, of Paganini.
You didn't have one. It's always just Paganini. Mr. Paganini. Mr. Paganini.
Mr. Paganini.
When I was introduced... Flower. All right, stand by then. Stand by. Might be repercussions. Nicola. Low.
2 marks. Nicola. And now,
in the trade, he was always known as Nick Paganini.
Well, we knew a fiddler.
Yeah. Pressing on then, another round. Graham Dalley will play the opening bars of Tradition Law, popular old nostalgic number. For 3 marks, 3 no less, will you please do your best to continue the song and the words? Marks will be awarded according to individual merits and braggadocio and things like that. So we begin with David Franklin. Can you continue?
And go on and do the tagline. Hey, clear the way. Here comes the galloping major. Well done, Dave. That's what it came to me. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't hear a lot of the words. I heard a certain amount of rhubarbing from...
It was all the words.
Did you mention as proud as
Yes.
Indian
drum.
Every word where I was sitting.
Here the girls declare.
Yes.
Here as clear as a crystal bell.
Good. Hey, clear the way. And then my friend came in with a death cant. Here comes the galloping major.
Yeah, very good, thank you. 3 marks. And a song from Denis Norden.
Got married to the widow next door. She'd been married 7 times before, and everyone was an Annery. She never had a Willie or a... It's either Sam or Sam. Yeah. I married old man called Annery. Annery the 8th up. Do you like Barbara Streisand?
Good enough for 3 marks. And Ian, here's yours.
The old clock was tuned for the show.
Words, please.
And he stopped short and never to stop again when the young
never to go again. Yeah.
Done.
There, let us wallow in glorious mud. Oh, yes, that's good enough for 3 marks, especially as you're trailing, I see, from the marks here. And, Frank, one for you.
If I
I could plant a tiny seed of love in the garden of your heart.
That's so lovely. I'd like to do it again.
Well, I'd rather you did more of it.
I tried to avoid it. Could plant a tiny seed of love in the garden of your heart.
Would it grow to be a great big love someday, or would it... You don't know, do you? No, I'm going to favour you with 2 marks.
I could bask it, but I would be falsified.
And that brings us to the end, I'm afraid, of this edition of My Music, in which David Franklin and Frank Muir beat Ian Wallace and Denis Norden by 3 marks.
Taking part in My Music were David Franklin, Frank Muir, Denis Norden and Ian Wallace. Graham Dalley was at the keyboard and the chairman was Steve Ray. The questions were compiled by Edward J. Mason and the programme was produced in London by Tony Schreier. The BBC presents My Music, a musical panel game devised by Edward J. Mason and Tony Schreier. And here's Steve Race to introduce the team.
Hello and welcome again to My Music, the last in the present series. As usual, it's Denis Norden partnering Ian Wallace and Frank Muir partnering David Franklin. So, David, yours is the first question. Can you please identify the place, the spot on the map?
You want the place?
Yes, please.
Or the nut?
Brazil.
Yes, you got that from Pancho Muir next to you, didn't you? Brazil is right for 2 marks, David. Thank you very much. Got us off. Nicely started. Dennis, where's this? Elderly version.
It is, yes. Right, yes. It's well, the name of the place, I don't think is mentioned. It's a little Spanish town upon a night like this.
Yes, name 6.
Yes.
Well, no.
Granada it isn't, no.
Spain will do. Spain we had in mind for 2 marks. And Ian Wallace's turn.
A little prompting from Monsieur Norden, and we got that it was Paris.
Yes, the poor people of Paris is right for 2 marks, and Frank Muir's turn.
It harpooned in Well, it's both a chap and a place, isn't it?
Yes.
Monterey.
Monterey, yes, that's right. 2 marks. General odds and ends of musical knowledge. For 2 marks, David, what, strictly speaking, please, is a hurdy-gurdy?
Well, I never speak other than strictly.
Good.
Hurdy-gurdy is... It's a thing on a box. It's a thing in a box on a wooden leg. The thing is held upright by a leather strap round the chap's shoulder, and he turns the handle and music comes out.
What's inside the box, though?
Ah, well, that's a different thing. Monkey. No, the monkey's outside, Frank. I was saving the monkey up for last as a clincher with Steve. Inside, there's a sort of, there are little sort of metal fingers which go click, click, click as a... I don't know.
Rumble, you sort of... I can't give you this one, I'm afraid, David, because that, I said strictly speaking, and that is absolutely wrong. A hurdy-gurdy is not a barrel organ.
I didn't say it was a barrel organ. I said it was a hurdy-gurdy.
Well, I'll tell you what a hurdy-gurdy really is. It's an instrument dating from the Middle Ages. It really looks not unlike a mandolin. Strings are sounded by a resined wheel, which is turned by a handle, and the player's left hand activates a set of keys, not unlike a typewriter. Mozart wrote for it, and incidentally, I saw one played once in a Paris nightclub. In the year 1000 or thereabouts, it was a church instrument called the organistrum, and it really is not a barrel organ.
Boy, were you wrong.
All right.
Meanwhile, we move on to Denis Norden. Denis, your question. Paul Desmond named it. Dave Brubeck made it famous. But as an expression, it has a welcome meaning among musicians, and for that matter, among chorus girls. Can you explain?
Well, now, we have to really clarify what is welcome to both musicians and chorus girls, either separately or collectively. I think you must be meaning that thing called Take 5.
Yes, Take 5 is correct. Now, why?
Well, Take 5 is what the leader of the band says to the other members of the band before they go off for 15 minutes rest.
Yes, that's right, yes. It's what the organ grinder says to his monkey when he can have a rest, isn't it? And it's also the title of a piece by Paul Desmond for the Dave Brubeck Quartet. Why did he call it that? For the other mark?
Well, I presume it was on the 5th take that they got it right.
No.
Well, it was a good presumption, though, wasn't it?
Well, it's a fair presumption, but yes.
Were there some bars in 5/4 time?
Yes, all of them, yes. That's your partner speaking, Dennis, so that's all right. 5 beats in the bar, Take 5. 2 marks. Ian, tell me all you know about Bumps-a-Daisy.
And if necessary, name names.
Well, it's a dance. 1, 2, and bumps-a-daisy, tum-tum-tum, tum-tum, bum-bum-bum-bum-bum.
Yes.
Well, that's it. I mean, I know what bumps means. It means a bit of a bump in probably...
cheek to cheek.
Cheek to cheek is right, Dennis.
Part of one's anatomy that is difficult to describe on radio without...
No.
And a daisy is self-explanatory, except when it's oops-a-daisy, which is when a small child falls over. And you say oops-a-daisy in the vain hope that it's not going to burst into tears.
It's always vain. All right, there's 2 marks. Frank Muir, what is a jug band?
A jug band?
A jug band.
It's the house orchestra at one of Her Majesty's prisons.
I suppose so.
Am I tepid?
Well, you not really at all in any strict sense. It's a lovely answer. Have you ever heard of a jug band? Or a jug, musically speaking?
I blow over the top of the jug,
that's more like it, yes.
Fat and delightful partner has just said.
Yeah, that's good enough for 2 marks. Bands, washboard bands, hillbilly bands, and so on, used to feature the jug, used for storing alcoholic drinks, used in bands in place of a tuba or a bass. The player blows a note across the narrow neck of the jug or into it. Songs from the shows. The name of the show, please, and for a 2nd mark, the approximate date of first production. David Franklin. David.
The Merry Widow,
Yes.
which was put on in London because a show of George Edgeworth's at Daly's had failed,
Yes.
and this was put on as a stopgap and ran and ran and ran. It started before I was born. All of this is hearsay from my mother's knee.
Yes.
But I think it started in 1907.
Well, your mother's knee was very musical. Because...
So my father often said.
1907 is exactly right for the first London production. Good for you. Also, first produced, of course, before that in Vienna in 1905. 1 mark for Merry Widow, 1 for 1907. Jolly good. Dennis, here's yours.
I've wined and dined on mulligan stew and never wished for turkey. I've hitched and hiked and drifted too, from Maine to Albuquerque. Alas, I miss the Balzac ball, and what is twice as sad, I was never at a party where they honored Noel Card.
It's Ladies of Tramp, and it comes from Babes in Arms. Well, yes, it was in Babes in Arms, the original stage production of Babes in Arms, but it wasn't in the film. Actually, Frank Sinatra put it into the film with Pal Joey, but it wasn't in...
Yes, it was also in Words and Music.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
So you can have almost any year you like for one of those three.
Well, the Babes in Arms musical show, Broadway show, would be round about the end of the 30s. I was about round about 1936, something like that.
37, according to my information. Very good. Came from Babes in Arms, 1937. 2 marks there, and Ian's turn. Interesting this, because of course everybody knows that song, Lover.
Yeah.
But few people know what it comes from.
Among which I am not numbered.
Well, it's Rodgers and Hart's song, of course. Yeah. It comes from a film called Love Me Tonight. And can you possibly give me the year? Have a guess. Within 2 years, I'll give it to you.
1938.
No, you're not near enough, I'm afraid. 1932 was the...
That was going to be my second choice.
Too bad. That isn't any marks, I'm afraid. And Frank, your turn.
Small and white, clean and bright, you look happy to meet me.
It comes from the sound of music.
Very good, very good.
Which are emerged upon the stages of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Stages of New York.
Yes.
In...
Yes.
1900.
Yes.
And...
Yes. You're right.
60.
Yes, it's 1960 New York. 2 marks there. And at the moment, between David Franklin and Frank Muir, Ian Wallace and Denis Norden, a tie. Here are some of the most famous melodies composed by, or in one case used by, the most eminent classical composers. The name of the composition, please, for 2 marks, David.
It's the middle 8 of something.
Yes.
I haven't the faintest idea.
Oh, you have? Oh, you must have the faintest idea. No.
All right. Draw it out of me.
Take 5.
I'll draw it out of the audience. What is it? Yes, Beethoven 9th Symphony, the last movement, the Ode to Joy. Sorry, David.
No. Just sit there.
I'll hang my head and shake.
Dennis, what's this called?
Right. What do you do with a hint that says, try the Emperor Concerto? Oh, no. Schubert.
No, but you're not terribly far off as far as years are concerned.
As far as years.
But I didn't give David any help, so I can't give you any help, can I? No, it's the last movement of... Does the audience know? Yes, Eine kleine Nachtmusik by Mozart. No marks there either. Ian, can you name this? And you're going to say, yes, it's the French horn.
Well, I scrape one miserable mark for Tchaikovsky.
Yes.
And it's a lot of instruments playing, so...
by definition, therefore.
Yes, I mean, it's an orchestra, isn't it? Yes.
I thought you were going to say more than that. Go on, have
it's a symphony.
It's a symphony, yes, it is a symphony. Now, you have something like 6 to choose from.
Yes, I was thinking that. It's not the pathetic...
No, you didn't mean that. That would be the 6th if you had said that.
The
5th. You think it's the 5th?
I do, I think it's the 5th.
2 marks. As you replied instantly, Tchaikovsky's 5th Symphony. E minor, the slow movement. That's right. Frank, this may take you back to your student days, I think.
It's not the national anthem. No. My partner here has given me the name of a botanical plant as well. Called the Gordiamo Igitur. Gordiamus.
Well,
the Academic Festival Overture is its ordinary name.
Used by the composer in the Academic Festival Overture. The composer being...
What?
Brahms, yes.
Brahms.
Thank you very much, Frank. And David, you run back your good name after your momentary aberration. Yes, the Academic Festival Overture by Brahms, who used that student song. 2 marks there. Now for something quite different. We're going to hear some bugle calls. And for 2 marks, will you please identify what they're for, what they mean? David Franklin, here's yours. David, before you answer, not very good. Shall we just try once more, please? Yeah, much better.
Yes, very appropriate call.
Appropriate to...
I'm fed up with answering all your operatic questions and things.
Of course, I was an officer. Isn't it the...
It wouldn't send you to sleep, would it?
Is that a reveille?
Ah!
But that's the wrong sort of reveille.
Well,
My lot, we had a different reveille.
You had a bloke shouting, "Get out of them beds!" didn't you?
Yeah, but during the Boer War, they changed all these theories.
Well, you and Lord Raglan may have had something different, actually. In fact, it was Reveille, and I will give you two. I think, why not? You came out with the word in the end. Here's one for Dennis.
I can just see my luck if somebody blew that. Everybody running in different directions. I think that is that's called ablutions awash. We didn't have them. I wasn't an officer. I was an LAC only because you couldn't get any lower. And I wanted to stay with the lads. I have no idea what that is. It's obviously peremptory, urgent. Yes. It's the enemy are upon us, or naffy up, or we've got waff here.
Not quite.
It could be the orderly room call. 358 wanted.
Well, when you reached the dizzy heights of leading aircraftmen, people used to threaten to put you on a, what was it, a 252?
252 was a charge. Oh, was that? Oh, that was.
Well, now.
Defaulters.
Ah, defaulters. Yes, I can help you too, you see. Yes, defaulters. Otherwise known as jankers, yes. You're right, at last, for 2 marks. Bugle call coming up from Mr. Wallace.
As you can see from my fairly ample figure, I know what that one means. That is, if one was an officer, dinner is served, sir.
Yes.
Or come to the cookhouse door or nosh up.
Yes. Grub up. Yes. 2 marks. Frank Muir, what's this?
It's the start of Bugle Call Land.
That's right, for 2 marks. And now we come to the bit where the members of the team sing. Right.
Lock the doors.
Graham Dalley, on various instruments, plays various songs, and you, we hope, complete them, starting where he leaves off. Every week I say that, starting where he leaves off. You always plunge back to the beginning again. Anyway, where he leaves off, please. All this for 3 marks, and we begin with David Franklin.
Had a little drink about an hour ago, and it's gone right to my head. 2, 3, 4. I may roam through land. No, let me do this on my own. This is one I knew. No, you spoiled it now.
Go home. 3 marks.
You spoiled it.
Nice to have a good sing, isn't it? 3 marks there for all concerned. Dennis's turn.
Oh, I only know 3 lines of it. Catch a falling... I only know that bit. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day.
For love may come
and catch it by the That's a fun.
Well,
sorry, you're a little difficult to help on that
one. Yes. Difficult to give more than 1 mark to, I think. 1. There. Ian's turn.
She's so contrary to other girls I've met, and that is why I love her when brunette has turned to grey.
No, wait.
Thank you.
And finally, Frank Muir. Mr. Bit.
Here we are again, happy as can be, a whole of good pals and jolly good company.
Strolling round the town, yes.
Around the sea, all good pals and a jolly good company. Never mind the weather, never mind the rain. All together, off we go again. La-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-dee. All good pals and jolly good company.
Three for you there, Frank. And there we end this edition and this series of My Music. It's a win by 1 mark for David Franklin and Frank Muir. Goodbye.
Taking part in My Music were David Franklin, Frank Muir, Denis Norden and Ian Wallace. Graham Dalley was at the keyboard and the chairman was Steve Ray.